Hi, in this video, we are going to look at how to use the metadata ingest forms to capture metadata when you are bringing in new assets. This can be done using the check-in app that can be launched from the asset browser or directly launching the check-in app. The topics that we will cover include how to launch the ingest form, how to use mandatory and optional fields to edit metadata before ingesting assets, and finally, how to bulk apply metadata to a folder full of assets or multiple files that you are bringing in. The easiest way to launch the ingest form in order to bring in assets and also apply metadata is to drag and drop assets from your file system. So say I wanted to bring in some folders, some existing footages, I can just select them in Finder, or if this was Windows Explorer, and decide where I want to bring this in. So let's say I wanted to put this into video. So as soon as I do that, the asset browser will bring up a ingest form. This is also called a check-in window. It'll have a list of all the files that I am trying to ingest on the top. So I can see all the various camera card clips as well as the videos that I want to bring in. And below the file and folder panel is the metadata panel. That shows me the metadata that would be applied to these files when they are ingested in the system. So I can see that there are several metadata groups. If I click on this option, it'll collapse all the groups. So these are all the metadata groups that have been set up to show up at ingest. So if I open up editorial information, I can see there are many fields in here. Like I have brand, category, project, episode, shoot. These show up in orange and they have an asterisk. That means these are mandatory fields. So when I'm ingesting asset, I must have some values entered into these fields. Otherwise, the system would not let me ingest the assets. So for instance, if I did not have brand in here, it's empty, then you can see check-in is disabled. So I must select a required field. So as soon as I enter Evolve for Now in here and then go anywhere outside, check-in is enabled. I also have many optional fields which are in white font, like talent. This is not required, so that's why it's in white font. Besides that, I have many other metadata groups. So if I look at workflow, there is a metadata group that has some fields. These are all empty fields. These are all optional fields. So you can control how big a form you want to bring up at ingest, and that is covered in the setup of ingest form. Your media managers can choose to have a very simple form with 2 fields, or they might have a very complex form like I have with many different fields. You can have more than one form. The forms are tied to the project vault where we are bringing these assets in. So I'm right now bringing the asset into a project vault called library. The very first server folder, that's the name of the project vault. And you can see I have several top level folders or multiple project vaults. So based on the settings done by your media manager, there might be different forms for each of these vaults. And then secondly, based on the role that I am playing in the system. So when I log in, I get assigned certain roles. Maybe I'm a videographer. In that case, I could have different set of fields, or maybe I'm a studio operator or a technician. So based on my roles, this form can be customized by your media manager. In the ingest form, you will also find an option for entering any comments. And if you want to see the past comments that have been entered, you can just double click on it and it'll show you all the comments that have been added recently. And you can always select comment and click select, and that'll add the comment, so you don't have to type that in. So that is how the ingest form is set up. As soon as you click check-in, it will bulk apply metadata to every single file that is selected in here. So as you can see, I have right now 14 assets selected. If I didn't want to check in something, I can always disable the folder or file. In that case, these assets will not be checked in. Now I just have got 12 assets left. But the metadata that shows up here applies to every single one of these assets.